Hey guys, welcome back to YourStory.com. And you guys are startups, but it's always great to talk to corporate because they're the ones who are going to work with you in the future. And I've got Raj Mrutyunjayappa, who's the MD of Talisma Corporation at India. How are you, sir?
Pleasure to meet you. Fantastic. Thanks for having me here.
No, thank you. I mean, we have a lot of common interests. We'll get to that in a bit. Cricket being one of them.
Yeah.
You have to tell us a bit of Talisma.
Sure.
A lot of our younger audience, 18 to 35 is our audience. Most of them startups.
Yeah.
They'd want to know what makes Talisma tick. So, what do you guys do?
So Talisma, as you know now, is a global player. I've been with Talisma for 18 years.
And you've been part of the core team.
I've been part of the very, very early stage beginning team, the core team, if you would like to call it that way. I always call it as an entrepreneurial team.
It's amazing because Raj's journey is interesting. Is our very own backyard boy from Mysore who, before he finished his master's program, got in the USA because he got employed with Talisma, of course. Yeah. And 18 years.
18 years.
It's like a lifetime.
Years. It's a lifetime. 18 years. I don't want to say that because it kind of reveals my age, but actually it's been that long.
So tell me about the experience. I mean, so many years in the USA. What have been the learnings from you? And it's become a global corporation, more than 1,000 clients, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing about the way we thought about products, or how India visualizes a product and how a Western country visualizes a product, is fundamentally different. Because our core philosophy when we want to roll out a product and how we think about it is very short-sighted. So I think if there are many lessons. I mean, of course, 18 years is a long way. Yeah. I mean, 20 years is a long way to be in industry. But one of the core things that I've learned is our ability to market what we have is quite, I wouldn't say it's at a world standard. We need to really learn how to position, market, and really create a value proposition around what we build. I think that's where we lack. It's not because of lack of talent, not because of lack of skill or ideas. Everyone have them. It's how you position it, what is the value proposition you take to the market, and how you're able to sell against just marketing engines that exist outside India. Most of the time what you're selling against is marketing engine. It's not against products. Right. So how do you compete in that space, and how do you invest in that space is the core success or failure that defines it.
I want to pick your brains there a bit. You're a product company.
Yeah.
And you're 1,000 people, right? I mean, if a product is good, does the sales take care of it by itself, or do you need to invest in a sales engine and say that use my product?
I would love to say it all depends, but actually it is not. It is really about how you plan your sales.
Okay.
You only have two ways you can sell. Either you have deep pockets to go sell on your own,
which is not good always because you're burning equity money.
But that's one of the ways.
Yes.
Or you build an ecosystem of people who are going to promote your solution worldwide. Those are the only two ways. You can call it any other ways, any brands, anything you want to call it. So some products are best sold by you, right? Which is essentially which are like core products, like something that is large sales cycles, big volume, $30 million deal, $20 million. These have to be sold by you. If you're building products, if you're building appliances, it's difficult for a third party to pick it up and sell it unless it becomes popular. But there are some products that you build which addresses specific market needs, which is specifically solving a problem. Those have to be marketed through channels. If you're trying to do all on your own, you're just short-sighting yourself. You just actually are losing out of market space. So those are the only two ways you can actually sell and position. And so what we have done essentially in Talisma is we started by putting together what we call as lighthouse accounts. We go into countries, we establish ourselves, we put in if I take India for example, I have a bank, like a private bank, a cooperative bank, public bank like Canara Bank, or we go into public university, state university, and we set up lighthouse accounts to kind of create this environment for somebody watching us and say, hey, this is a workable product, this works, this well, and then bring in a whole, ecosystem together of consultants on one side, of companies who want to resell on the other side, and companies want to implement on one side. So create an ecosystem that can self-sustain itself. And that's the way to actually channelize this whole play. In fact, surprisingly in India, most people may underplay this, right? If you say working with public sector is a challenge, and everyone who's thinking that way is probably 10 years behind. Like today, if you look at institutions like TCIL, EdSills, these are all public,
they're huge companies.
They're huge companies, and they are doing some of the largest implementations. And we always, when we say we want to tie up, we'll think, oh, we have to go to IBM, we have to go to Cognizant. We're not even thinking about public sector as a tie-ups. We're not even thinking BSNL as a partner. So we have to change our ways of thinking of being limited in the saying there are only 8 partners I can tie up with, and these will take me to these markets. And so it is all that old school of thinking has to go away. You got to really innovate yourself, and who is the current leader and who do you think is going to be the future leader?
And digital is a large part of this journey, right?
Very big part, especially if you're thinking about India, right? With the Digital India drive and all this. I mean, you leaving the political side out of it, right? I don't want to comment more about is it success or failure, but the awareness. It is a marketing program. Even if I just think it's a marketing program, it has marketed itself really well that people believe they have to digitalize it, right? To the point where we are talking about cooperative societies. There are 14.5 lakh cooperative societies. That is a big number. Only 11% have anything close to digital. That means either they have a computer or an Excel sheet. They're at that level. So, but all of these companies, all of these societies have the exact same regulatory and compliance standards as a company has. Like private limited company or LLPs have. They all have to file compliance. They all have to file to register of society. So who is addressing that? That's your mass that you have to look at. So you have to relook at what does the future look like? How does this kind of create? And what Talisma, what we are doing is, we're just not going and saying, I want to give you an ERP to manage yourself. I'm actually in the journey of creating a marketplace for these 14 lakh cooperative societies, where I'm saying we're going to get you the ERP and actually create a market space where I will bring you a chartered accountant or, filing your taxes or, all these as service. So I now have access to 14 lakh, companies really or societies.
And most of this is direct selling by?
No, it is all indirect. Okay. You can never succeed doing this direct, right? Indirect applies in 2 ways. One is you have to sell through federations.
Correct.
These societies are federations. You have PACs. You have cooperative wings that are there. So you have to sell through there. That's one way of doing it. You also have to sell through localized vendors who are engaged in these models. They're already engaged, like an agriculture society. They are actually already engaged with a bunch of people to buy their produces. So how do you engage with them to take it? So you need to really reinvent yourself in how you would go after this market. So it is the way to come back to your question. What is our, how do you actually go sell? I think selling, is great, but I think we have to create an environment for people to buy.
Yeah, that's very important. A lot of us ignore that, right?
Yeah.
We're always trying to preach to people that this is what you need.
This is what you need.
It's not usually the case.
It's not usually the case. And 9 out of 10 times, people will buy what they want to buy. I would love to go and sell what I have, but ultimately we think, we are what they need, but they know what they need. They will buy what they want to buy only.
Your company has survived the test of time. You competed with the likes of Oracle, Microsoft in the early days.
Yeah.
Then you have modern companies like Zoho, Freshdesk. They get all the media attention. But you're saying that you're fundamentally different from the cloud businesses today. Why?
So we are what we call as an enterprise solution. An enterprise solution effectively means you're not addressing a single point problem of an institution.
Yes.
You're looking at broadly the overview of what are the different various challenges as an organization, as a company, as an institute they're facing. Like I will give you a great example in a college ecosystem. Not many people realize. I mean, we always talk about engineering seats are expensive, medical seats are expensive, but there are over 50% of colleges and institutions which can't even fill up their seats, right?
That's true.
It is and most people don't think of it that way. They think that's a money-making machine. But when you actually go in there and say, oh, okay, I'm going to give you one lead generation software which can actually give you leads. Well, that's a one-dimensional way of solving it. I don't want to say who solves them, but that's one-dimensional way of solving it. You really have to think of saying the quality of education of these institutions, if they are able to provide that better, automatically their ranking goes up and their number of people who want to join there goes up, and hence you need a lead management engine which ultimately drives this whole thing. So we provide a comprehensive solution end to end, which means we are connecting their alumni to the aspirant. We are connecting their student to the faculty. We are connecting the courses, the program to the competency. We are connecting all of this to the job market.
So you're saying you're not a point solution.
It is essentially, you have to think of what do people go to institution for? Only 2 reasons.
Study
Output is either you want to get into a job, or you want to go and become a researcher.
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah, the outcome of education is a job. Yes, there's nothing else to it.
This is it. Or you go into research field, right?
True.
So this is it. So you need to solve that problem. Right? So most of the time we try to solve a problem of lead generation.
Yes.
That's where we go wrong, and that's where I don't want to call myself a point solution. That's not what I do. I am actually solving your core outcome business. And if I solve that outcome that you're looking for, I would have solved a lot of these problems.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is a narrative, right? And it's a narrative that you're making work. And this is where, sales also becomes very accountable, very difficult. Most of them, like you say, carpet bomb you with information.
Yeah.
And they ask you to use the solution. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
How do you advise people to sell? I mean, like a lot of young people with product.
Yeah.
India is going to become a product nation next decade.
Yeah.
If they sell, if somebody sold something to you, how do they sell?
So
What do you expect?
Yeah. So my expectation is very simple. Can you deliver me an outcome-based solution?
Simple as that.
That's simple. If you are willing to put your money on the table, saying that I'm willing to give this to you, and I'm willing to say here is the outcome, and if my outcome works, pay me 30% more. Done. You got the order, right? And so, but the most important thing is what they define as an outcome should reach what I define as an outcome. That's where I see a lot of disconnect. And a lot of conversation happens this way. Many salespeople are trained to come and talk this way.
Yes.
But what they cannot do is, without the right experience or knowledge, they will not be able to say what challenges I am facing. That is where experience and investment goes in.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting. I mean, a lot of people use equity money to sell.
Yeah.
Before you know it, the founders now see that they haven't got a great sales pipeline. I mean, in your 18 years experience, right, you've gone from an engineer to becoming an MD. Would you say that, look, speak about the product first. Don't worry about the selling part. It'll happen later. So if a good product will always sell by itself.
So the way I have positioned is slightly different than that. I've always said that show me who will be the buyer if you're going to build this, right?
Nice.
And most of the time, what we realize, the gap that comes in is we don't know who's going to be the buyer. There is a broad idea that these are the type of people
you want to sell to,
right? But they wouldn't nail down saying, okay, I have a pipeline of 10 accounts. I don't need 100. Give me 10 accounts in it. Where are you going to sell? What are you going to sell? What price are you going to sell? Right? If we can define that, I think we have defined what we need as a product.
Right. That's a great point. I think people should come and speak to you about that language. Most of us go wrong because of lack of experience, or is because you're selling to the person who's not interested in your product?
No, I think there's a lot of passion. I mean, I probably I'll digress, but I'll tell you this. I've mentored a few startups. They've come to me, talking to me very passionately about a product they have. They love talking about their story, and I love that. I mean, I love like 7-member, 8-member company doing something fun, and this is what they want to do: work for themselves, build this world-class product. The next generation, they want to raise multi-million-dollar rounds of funds. Beautiful. But when I ask them basic questions of saying, why are you doing this? Their very simple answer is, well, because there is a need. Then who established that need? Where did you get this need from? Or because I've learned through experience. And who is their experience? Their friends, their colleagues, somebody who they met on the street, or they bumped in and they went and met 2 or 3 clients.
That's not enough, you're saying.
That sampling, that's not who you're going to sell to.
Yes.
Who you're going to sell to is going to be a whole different set of people. So my mentorship has always been around saying, you come and tell me, here are the 5 companies, they've asked me this. I have no capability to do this, but you give me money, I can actually go do this.
It's true, because if you look at the restaurant industry, a lot of people come and say, I'll set up a Mangalorean restaurant in this area.
Yeah.
How do you know?
How do you know? What do people know about a Mangalorean restaurant? Let's start from there. Right? What are the 4 dishes which are unique to Karnataka?
Yes.
So why is Mangalorean dish different from
a Mysore?
Mysore? Give me 4 dishes.
Yeah, and you don't know whether the demographics will accept it at all. Maybe they like Gujarati food. You never know, right? People make these mistakes, right? So for you, I mean, does it? I mean, being in Talisman, does it hurt you that when younger people come and talk to you, they talk about digital transformation, not knowing what it is?
No, actually, there are two things which it doesn't hurt me, but I feel that probably that's where I can contribute to them.
Yes.
2 ways. One is what I told you, that market analysis.
Yes.
Second thing is everybody reads the same report. The people forget. Right? Everybody reads the same report. If somebody says digital transformation is happening, I am reading the same report you're reading, And guess what? 1,000 people got this idea of making the same product. And when people come and talk to me, I keep thinking, oh, Vishal, you spoke to me. And then Rahul came and spoke to me about the same
thing.
What's so different about you both? They're like, no, I'm different. And I gave them one example, and I'd love to say this.
Please.
Right? I don't know.
Please, you should say it.
I don't want to make it any offensive to anybody.
Don't name anybody.
No name. So I was telling them, I feel like when you come and tell me mine is different, okay? I feel like saying, you're sitting in a Maruti 800. He's sitting in a Maruti 800. You are trying to tell me you have an air conditioning. He's telling me he has a beautiful dashboard. You're telling me my color of the seat is different. He's telling me I have a leather cover. Right? You're comparing us and saying my car is different. My car is different. I'm watching from outside. It's exactly the same Maruti 800. What are you guys talking about, right? And I'm saying, okay, where is the real car I need? I don't want that car.
Yeah.
So this is the problem. When you don't have an outside-in perspective of what you're doing, you get consumed in yourself and start to believe a story, right? I always tell my own team, my own company, don't get bought into our own marketing.
Yes.
That's the worst thing to happen.
That's also a golden rule of communication, right? Don't believe your own propaganda.
It is so much true. I mean, when we go out and sometimes when I tell my own staff, I got to talk to them positively. I can't go and tell them, listen, we're going to have a tough quarter. I'm going to have people run away, right? I got to go and tell them, listen, guys, we will do well, right? We are doing really well. I'm going to pick some areas, and I know some of the employees are listening to this. They'd love to hear my version of this, right? And when I go and talk to them about it, there are bad sides to this. I chose to tell them the good sides of it because I want them to stay motivated. I want them to stay like, this is the place for me to succeed.
Correct.
But I can't let my staff start to believe there's no bad things and everything is hunky-dory and let's just go have another outing, company outing and burn more money. I can't afford to do that. So it is very important that you know how to manage communication. You need to know how to make sure your next level and the next level understand the challenges and issue. But broadly you're sending this. But if my next level start to buy this messaging, then I have a problem.
Yes.
If my next level start to believe what the marketing message is, saying that everything is great, then the whole system collapses. Right? So that is very important for us to believe that don't believe in your own propaganda, don't believe in your own marketing. You have to believe in the realities of what you're working under. You have to believe in saying, I am what I need to provide, ultimately somebody's got to buy.
And that is something because you're solving a need.
Absolutely.
Not because, and basically.
And a broader need, right? Sometimes you go and ask 10 people in Indranagar what problem you want to solve. They'll say, just make horns which have silencer. Right? Okay, let's make horns which have silencer. This is a great problem. Let's solve the problem. Well, guess what? Nowhere else in the world they need this. So you're going to create a product with the base of Indranagar. And that is it. So you can't limit your thought process to say, this is what I want to produce for this market because it's a great market. Great market is not defined by sampling of 50 people you spoke to.
Right. It's again going back to the restaurant example.
Yeah.
So it comes with immense experience of talking about what would be a good sample size for you. Just give out your product to as many people to use, and then you'd know what incremental additions to make. And
no, I always believe that you need to take a cross section of people where you believe this is a segment that will not use my product. Right? And here is a segment that will use my product. Here is a segment I don't know whether they use the product. You got to take that segmentation.
Right.
And then start to see why would somebody who's not using the product, what are they complaining about? That gives you more insight than somebody who wants to use the product. Because somebody who wants it, you're not selling it to him, he's buying it from you. You know, like a Microsoft Word.
Right,
you don't have to sell it.
Yes, it just goes by
You
itself.
go buy it, right? I mean, whereas when you're selling something, you need to go sell to somebody where the answer is no. It starts with a no.
It's always a no.
Right?
Yes.
The sale starts with a no.
Yes.
So you need to go to, when every MBA class probably teaches this, but in reality, they'll go and sell to somebody who wants to buy only.
Yeah, but he wants to hear it differently.
Yes.
Right?
So you go to him, have to go to segment that you believe is hard to crack, unable to break. And then you kind of learn why that they will never use their solution. That gives you greater insight.
You know, if people bring you things like I do AI,
Yeah.
I do machine learning, what would you tell them?
Me too.
So me too. Even I do the same.
Yeah.
So
No, but actually,
it's interesting. It's well said.
Yeah. So I think all this artificial intelligence, machine learning, you know, we use all these jargons, right? I mean, it's wonderful. One thing that industry has established, at least we all speak the same language of all this next generation, what is coming. But I don't think we all speak the same language. What it means to me versus what it means to you.
Yeah.
These are just words. And if you get a level lower, I think there will be good understanding of what an AI should do.
You know, I've got an audience question. You want to take it?
Sure.
It's called, can you tell us something about your social media toolkit? Now it can help us leverage the full potential of social media. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, we do.
What does it do?
So, when you talk about, you have to apply social media in the context of what we do. Like, for example, we are providing solutions to banks or insurance companies, right? So when I'm providing a solution to an insurance company or a bank, how does social media help me? So one of the ways is you think about what are the basic issues today about products. So I always look at it that way, right? And so when you look at the basic issue of the product, when you launch, if you are unable to grasp what's happening about that product in the market, you have lost an opportunity. So we leverage social media to gather the market intelligence. We do listening. We look at, okay, this product is launched. What are people talking about? Which part of the country is actually talking more? Which part of the country is talking less? What are the buzzwords? What are the cloud words? So we kind of do that analysis, internal analysis on the cloud and learn through this. And then we actually populate this for the companies to look at it and say, people are asking about price. That is what the biggest question that is coming up. They're asking about color. They're asking about your, what is the, finally, when the money is going to get paid to them. So here are the questions they're asking. Here is the sentiment. People, 30% of them were not even on your site or your product for even a second. There were 70% who stayed there. People from Delhi seem to be more interested in what you're just telling. People from South are not interested. So this is the type of analytics we actually draw and give to them. Then it is a matter of how do you leverage this analytics to respond back, right? Then, simple things like you come to my Facebook site. I mean, I go to your Facebook site. I go and click, yes, I like this, your story, right? I like this, I just liked it. Now, the fact that you came and liked my story means you're now somebody who's interested. Now, that doesn't mean I bombard you with questions, bombard you with marketing campaign, but I capture you saying, this person looks like a potential prospect that I want to go to. What value can I send? And this whole thing is automated, right? You're not doing anything manually. You come in as a cold lead to me. We send out some material to you. We send you information.
It's amazing. You're thinking like a content company, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're like a media company yourself in many ways.
That's. By the way, we have run campaigns for Tata Hexa. Completely ran this way. Right? The Hexa campaign was managed. This is the solution that works.
Love the car, by the way.
So
they work with you for that.
Yeah. This is our stuff. That's what ran on behind the back of it for the entire lead management campaign.
So the content was designed by them?
Content is designed by them.
And they give it
This is our solution that actually works from the back.
It's amazing. You do multiple solutions like this. You're also doing something for the state of Maharashtra, right?
Yes.
You want to tell us about that?
So when you think about a Maharashtra state, 14 state universities, combination, likes of Mumbai University, right? So we have a total of 30 lakh students. And we have a common platform, an ERP platform, for all these 14 state universities, which consists of 4,800 colleges on a single platform, where they now can effectively come in and do this admissions, academic knowledge, their student portal, the mobile apps, exam management. Exam is a huge part. The whole exam, from the whole way the question papers are made, the way the sampling happens, the way securely the papers are delivered, to the way you are managing the digital marking, right? And then transcripts, and then ultimately your alumni. So the whole thing is managed on one single platform. That's probably the largest ERP implementation anywhere in the world at that size.
How did you win this project?
Through a tender, public tender.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had to go through this. Project name is Maha. It's under the Maha IT, which is the Maha IT arm for Maharashtra.
And who did you have to contend with?
Everybody. SAP, Oracle, everybody. It's we probably had about 14 companies were interested in this, and we had to ultimately show. Price is obviously one part of it, but we really had to show the value that the solution brings. We actually won this along as a consortium because there is also a partner who is providing manpower resourcing as part of it. This is a huge value, right? You're talking about the value of 120 crores.
Fantastic. Are you hiring currently?
We have. In fact, I just opening up a new office on end of this month, 28th of February. That has a capacity of 170 people.
Okay. So what kind of people are you looking for?
I look for people who have great attitude. I look for people who want to learn technology, who want to work in an entrepreneurial environment.
That's what you bring into the table.
Yes, who want to come and be multi-skilled. I don't want a software developer who wants to be developing through the life.
Fantastic.
Right, and that's not who I want. I don't want a QA person who wants to live the rest of their life doing
That's
QA.
QA.
Yeah.
That era is over.
That's over.
So if they have to work with you, where do they write to you on?
Well,
LinkedIn?
To me, LinkedIn, personally, I'm very responsive on LinkedIn. I'm always available on LinkedIn.
Is there a company email that we can leave on after the interview?
Absolutely, we will actually be happy to post it on your.
Nice, it's great. So you're also a sports person. Your children are sports people.
Yes.
Tell me what motivates you.
I actually say that I'm a failed sports professional. It doesn't seem to be that bad.
Or athlete?
Actually, I played squash at the Division 1 level. And I played tennis. I even played US Tennis League.
Nice.
No, I played US Tennis League.
Nice.
I actually competed in US Tennis League. And but yeah, I mean, ultimately, age caught up with me before I could do something.
But your kids have caught on to it.
Yes, genes. I guess it gets passed on.
So what motivates you? What are you reading currently?
So what I enjoy reading is actually short stories. It's about specific individuals. I love doing. I mean, these days I've got hooked onto Facebook and got hooked onto more stories, small stories, right? I mean, I have almost stopped reading novels, stopped reading business magazines, and they've actually asked me the question why, because I almost feel like I can write what they've written. So
it's something you can relate to. And
absolutely, and I want to learn little things in life, and what I want to learn from people is a social entrepreneur, for example, how he was able to achieve something selflessly. That's what motivates me.
That's interesting.
What motivates me is you look at somebody who is a 35-year-old who just quit his job and went and started something, and he failed and he's come back for a job.
Nice.
I love to hear from that person.
You should check out Social Story, one of our properties.
I would love to.
I mean, we have a lot of these kind of stories. So, but you still continue to play sport? No.
I do. Every single day, I have 90 minutes to 120 minutes dedicated for my physical fitness.
Would you recommend that to younger people?
In fact, if you're not doing it, you're not living your life, right? So that defines who you are. Okay. I mean, that 60 minutes of sweat is going to carry you through the day like a wonderful personality. People will like you because you are much more cheerful.
And by the way, there's a science to it, right? They say the dopamine levels are high throughout the day or something of that sort, right?
Yeah, I guess you got to ask people who work with me for that. I don't think.
No, it's nice because this is an amazing interview just because you're a very close friend with Sar of Delhi MC.
Yeah.
He went from Trichy or Tanjavur to becoming he heads Delhi MC's R&D.
Yeah.
Right. I mean that's an amazing story. He didn't even know English at one point of time, and now he's an amazing global person, right? And a lovely person at that. How about you? What does it take for a boy from Mysore, doesn't have any background, to end up as an MD in a global company?
I know a lot of younger people are watching this, but I want to simplify this very, very simple way, right? I mean, you can read all magazines and everything. What I'm going to tell you is probably what I'm going to tell you. I believe that when you say you're going to do something and you actually did something that you said you're going to do, you have achieved 95% of success.
Okay.
And this is globally true. And I learned this, in very early in my life. I was from young. I was always been an activist. I was a student leader. I was sports person. I was all of these things. And I realized one thing: if you want to impress your coach, you got to show up on time. And if your coach says you got to do 8 rounds, you got to do 8 rounds. Don't cheat, right? There were simple things that I learned that you have to do it the way you have to do it. Don't cheat. And when you have to show up to a meeting, show up on time. When you have to actually say, I'm going to deliver this to you, deliver on time.
And I have to apologize to you today. I delayed you today. No, I'm so sorry about that.
No, but I mean, I understand the compulsions. But I'm saying you that this is my philosophy. Doesn't mean everybody has to adopt it, right? Everybody has their own yardstick of how they do it. That's what I did. And what I realized is a lot of times I came across people who were mostly surprised that when he says it, he will go out of his way. He will go whatever it takes to make it happen. And that has been my only success mantra. I am not an MBA from Ivy League. I am not, and so I am like from academically not like the most qualified person. Most of my professors didn't even know I exist, right? I was somebody who got through the courses. But one thing for sure, none of my bosses, I worked under about 10 CEOs so far, directly under 10 CEOs. And you can walk up to anybody and ask, they'll have one quality that they'll always tell about me.
You won't
The
give up.
guy never gives up. He's just like a bull. He keeps coming at it, right? And so that's what you never give up. When you take up something, you got to work with it with passion. Whatever little thing it is, get it done. Never lose interest in it. When you start to lose interest in what you have picked up, it becomes a habit.
And that's when you stop enjoying it, and therefore
Absolutely.
you
And then you
simply
habit.
understand.
And habit is bad, right? Once you start losing interest in one thing, you say, okay, this may not happen. Next one, you lose interest. Third one,
So it's-
habit. You
it's
become
cyclical, and
it's
it
cyclical.
destroys you.
Then you start to realize that, I can actually give excuses to myself why you not have to achieve something.
Yeah.
So
we procrastinate.
Yes. When you take something, complete the task. Maybe you won't like it at the end of it. Don't give it up.
Yes.
Complete it. Because even when it's a failed project, just the fact that you completed it gives you self satisfaction. Now it's a clean thing. Let's move on to the next one. That's the only mantra that I've always used, and I have no other books I have to read to tell you this. This is always what I believe.
Raj, that's a wonderful, wonderful interview. Thank you very much, guys. There, never give up. Don't stop what you've started. And this has been amazing. Thanks, Raj. I hope to do it again. Maybe
Love
I'll
to.
call for something.
No, I would love that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Vishal.
been wonderful.
This is
Thank
great, and thank you, everybody. And I would love to talk to you more. I'm happy.
I'm
Ping
happy
me on
to.
LinkedIn. I'll be happy to give you.
Done. It's great. So, do you work with startups at all on the side? You mentor a lot of them?
I do.
Many?
I'm also an angel investor. I mentor.
Nice.
And I enjoy when I speak to entrepreneurs.
I like what you said. I mean, the energy apart, don't be a me too similar. To talk about your consumers in the end.